Aries rising 2023 has a huge focus on financial growth. That is the main point of just huge focus for you, especially the first part of the year, but also talks about focus on doing you. There's less about relationships and more about doing your own thing. If you are excited to get into what 2023 holds in store for your rising sign, which is so crazy for me to be saying, I remember being like 2019 yearly forecasts and knowing that no one was going to watch them, but I just did them for me. So it's big, I'm very thankful to be here today. So thank you guys, because I'm here because of you. But anyway, if you're excited to get into your 2023 forecast for your rising sign, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you are always up to date with what the stars have in store for you. We are firstly going to run through the 4 major themes for you, then get into the exact dates where this will be taking place. So firstly, this spring there is a huge pileup in Taurus in your second house of income and finances, showing that there's going to be disruptive yet positive, huge financial beginnings for you over the first part of the year. Secondly, Pluto will be entering your Aquarius 11th house. This is a preview for the large-scale social or audience-related changes that will be slowly and steadily developing for you over the next decade plus. Thirdly, Saturn will be entering your Pisces 12th house, showing mental health responsibility and maturity over the next 3 years. And finally, the second half of the year will have the nodes entering your Libra and Aries 7th and 1st houses, showing a focus on doing more of your own thing and less about relationships. In fact, letting go of relationships that are no longer serving you. So before we start out, I'm going to pull a tarot card. I'm going to do 2 cards here to make it, exciting. A tarot card to kind of set the tone, and then also I'm going to pull out an oldie. I've not used this since like 2020, a Work Your Light Oracle deck. I've not used this in a fucking long time. But anyway, the tarot card for Aries is Paper Hands, which is the Star. So I'm using this like trading view deck because I can't find my normal Rider-Waite. This is actually the Star card, and the Star talks about inspiration and good benevolent help coming down upon us to assist us, so it looks like that will be an important tone for the year. So January is very much an all systems go month. It is a very full force, all steam ahead month. We start out the month on the 12th with Mars direct in your Gemini 3rd house. Mars has been retrograde in your 3rd house over the past few months, showing having to go back and have some trouble or frustration around communication or with your siblings. And with Mars direct the middle of January, that trouble will now be cleared up. And if there was any project that you were working on that you had to go back and revise, you're now going to be completing that trouble and moving forward with communication and writing projects the second half of January onward. Also on the 18th of January, Mercury will station direct in your Capricorn 10th house. So there was a Mercury retrograde that started off the year showing that there was trouble or some confusion around career. That will clear up on the 18th onward. Thirdly, in January on the 22nd, Uranus will go direct in your Taurus 2nd house, showing that financial adjustments or changes that are really different and innovative from what you had done previously are now moving forward and beginning to be more like you're progressing forward with these financial adjustments. So February does not have that much going on, so I'm not going to talk about February, honestly, in relation to your particular chart. But for March, it does look like there's some major wins, some major losses, and major confusion. So March is a very dynamic month. We start out from the 1st to the 2nd with Venus conjunct Jupiter in your 1st house. This looks incredibly positive to start out March with wins about your personal life. Like Venus and Jupiter conjunct in your 1st house looks amazing. The beginning of March, amazing wins for you. It does look like a very confident, very abundant period. And with Mercury and Saturn conjunct in your 11th house, looks like you might be getting some serious news about larger groups or larger support that is bringing forward your goals. So very serious news taking place that does support you in your abundance happening the beginning of March. Then on the 7th, Mars will enter your Pisces 12th house. So this adds to the element of mental health and having some challenges in the middle of these wins. It looks like there will be some challenges that you're dealing with mentally during this time, even as all this abundance is coming your way. On the 12th, Jupiter will conjoin Chiron in your 1st house. This is the growth of vulnerability or the growth of sharing any struggles you've been through that seem to be intertwined with the success that you're having, that you're being open about your struggles and what you've been through. And on the 13th to the 14th, Mars in your 3rd house is squaring Neptune in your 12th house. This is showing that some aggression or some drive or some things that you're accomplishing in communication, because I can see that the first 3 months of the year, you're still working really diligently on some challenges or something communication-wise that's been a topic for you, and your mental health is leading this to be a little bit difficult. That even as all the success is happening, it's kind of like being lonely at the top, where your mental health is still something that you're focusing on solving here. From the 15th to the 17th, the Sun, Mercury, and Neptune in your 12th house will square Mars in your 3rd house. So this just continues this saga of a lot of focus on your mental health and a lot of focus on being behind the scenes, having some trouble alongside huge personal wins on the overt surface, where it can seem like you're getting everything, but underneath the surface, maybe the success is leading you to have some struggle or have something that you're having to work through. On the 23rd, this is a big day because Pluto is entering your Aquarius 11th house. So Pluto is a planet that takes about 20 years to go through any sign, and the fact that it's entering your Aquarius 11th house shows that you're beginning to transform your social life and the people that you hang out with. This is a slow, steady, very intense transit in the background over the next 2 decades, but the fact that it's briefly entering Aquarius over the next few months shows a preview of the social changes that you will be making over the next 2 decades. So if March onward for the next few months of the summer, you feel that there's a distinct change and transformation you're making around your social life, this is the preview of what you're going to enact over the next 2 decades. On the 25th, Mars will leave your Gemini 3rd house and finally enter your Cancer 4th house. So after 7 months of Mars being in your house of communication, showing trouble, showing challenge, showing something that you're accomplishing communication-wise, it's now entering your 4th house of home and family. Yes, it does show challenges moving towards home and family now over the next few weeks, but this is nothing in comparison to having it retrograded in your 3rd house for the past 7 months. So welcoming Mars moving forward. As an Aries rising, you are ruled by Mars, which shows that Mars retrograde for the first few weeks of the year and also back in 2022 would have been challenging. And Mars direct now, January onward, especially Mars leaving Aries in March, is a lot more forward movement for you personally and a lot more taking off in your life. On the 28th, Mercury will conjoin Jupiter in your 1st house. The 28th of March is a really great day for some news that you're putting forward, some kind of announcement. If you have to communicate anything, March 28th is a really great day to do that because the astrology is really positive. And on the 30th to the 31st, Venus will conjoin Uranus in your 2nd house. This shows really sudden, abrupt financial abundance coming your way. Like this is the kind of thing where it's like suddenly, at the extreme, suddenly winning the lottery. Apply that to your life however it makes sense at this given time, but very sudden financial growth, very sudden financial abundance coming your way at the end of March. Then in April, this is a month of a lot of optimism and confidence for you specifically because especially on the 11th to the 12th, the Sun will conjoin Jupiter in your Aries 1st house. This shows like a lot of glory, a lot of spotlight on you. It's an amazing period at the beginning of April as well, where at least on the surface around recognition and your personality and who you're becoming, there's a lot of success there. On the 20th, there's a total solar eclipse in your Aries 1st house. This is a huge fucking deal. I know I'm saying this pretty like monotone because I look at charts all day, so like I see the extremes and I'm like, yay, whatever. But a total solar eclipse in your Aries 1st house on the 20th of April is a very big deal for a catalyst, new beginning about you and who you are. It looks like you are putting forth a very important version of yourself. You're moving forward with something. This is very intense. This is very important, and it's something kicking off around you and who you are in a new beginning at the end of April. On the 21st, Mercury will station retrograde in your Taurus 2nd house. So it does show that we do end April with some revisions or some redoing around your financial infrastructure and new money that might have been coming your way. Now in May, there are some foundational new beginnings, specifically in regards to finance for you. So on the 5th, there is a lunar eclipse in your Scorpio 8th house. This is some kind of intense ending or letting go of the way that you're associating with other people's money. So it may be that you're departing a debt, that you were finishing up owing someone money. There's something ending with assets or money that you share with someone else. So likely you're probably ending depending on someone, or you're paying off a debt or selling off an investment, and it's very important and life-changing. Then from the 14th to the 21st, Jupiter in your 2nd house will square Pluto in your 11th house. This is a defining aspect of the entire year. And Jupiter squaring Pluto shows transformation and growth on an extremely large scale. For you, it's between your finances and your people that you are a social group part of. I said that really weirdly, but it looks like financial growth is leading you to change the groups of people that you're associated with. So maybe you're rich and famous now and you're like, sorry homies, I'm upgrading, I'm kidding. But it looks like your financial abundance is leading you to have a lot more transformations in who you're hanging out with. On the 14th, Mercury will station direct in your Taurus 2nd house. So Mercury will be direct the second half of May. Mercury retrograde in your house of finances is over. No more going back, no more confusion in that area of your life. And on the 16th, Jupiter will enter your Taurus second house. So Jupiter in your first house of self for the first few months was really great for recognition, for feeling like you were being seen. It was a big time of personal growth. But now Jupiter in your second house for the rest of the year shows that there's a lot of financial growth, and that is amazing, and that is really abundant, and that's very good to see, especially alongside some of the other things. Because on May 19th, there is a new moon in Taurus that has a fuck ton in Taurus. It has Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars. There is a fuck ton in Taurus on May 19th that looks like a huge, huge financial new beginning for you of a lot of abundance and growth in that area of your life. Then in June, opportunity is turning into slowing down. This is definitely a slower summer compared to the beginning part of the year. On the 1st, Jupiter will conjoin the North Node in Taurus. So we do start out the month with a huge, huge financial opportunity. This probably plays into what that new moon was signaling, but it does look like a huge financial new beginning and opportunity kicking off June. And on the 11th, Pluto retrograde will re-enter Capricorn. So you got a preview of Pluto in your 11th being like, what socially are you going to change? Now Pluto is re-entering your Capricorn 10th house to be like, okay, that's enough for now. We're going back to focus on transforming career, because 10th house is career. So then on the 17th, Saturn will station retrograde in your Pisces 12th house. Saturn retrograde shows rethinking boundaries and rethinking commitments. And for you, it's around mental health and behind the scenes things like addictions or dependencies. Looks like you're reconsidering the boundaries or support that you have around that. On the 18th to the 24th, Jupiter in your second house will sextile Saturn in your 12th house. I don't usually talk about sextiles, but this is one of the most important outer or just like slower planet transits of the year, where Jupiter in your second house shows financial growth. Sextile Saturn in your 12th shows that there's an opportunity for improving your mental health because of the amount of money that you're bringing in. And that's present throughout the entire summer. From the 25th to the 27th, Mars in your 5th house will square Uranus in your second house. That shows some issues between your creativity or someone you're dating and your finances. So it looks like someone that you're creatively involved with or dating fucks with your money. It's not a big deal, but it's just like chaotic. On the 30th, Neptune will then station retrograde in your 12th house, showing going back to rethink your dreams and your ideals on a very deep subconscious level. So it looks like a lot of spiritual work being done on the 30th onward. Then in July, it is a turning point of reconsideration in your relationships, because on the 17th, the nodes enter your 1st and 7th house. So with the North Node in your 1st house, it's a ton more focus on you and moving forward doing your own thing for the second half of the year. And with the South Node in your 7th house, it shows a letting go or a release of relationships or extraneous relationships. On the 19th to the 21st, Mars in your Virgo 6th house will oppose Saturn in your Pisces 12th house. So July is just a very tense month overall. It has a lot of oppositions. Mars in your 6th house opposing Saturn in your 12th house shows that there could be some issues with physical and mental health and overdoing it or burning out and being too active and being too tired. From the 21st to the 22nd, the Sun in your 4th house will oppose Pluto in your 10th house. Looks like some issues between family versus career and your family not wanting you to do some kind of big change in your career. And on the 22nd, Venus is stationing retrograde in your Leo 5th house. So Venus retrograde over the summer shows a rethinking of values in romantic relationships and in creativity. You're probably rethinking some effort or some values or something that you're going forward with in terms of that over the summer. So rethinking someone you're dating or rethinking a project. From the 23rd to the 25th, Pluto will be at the bending of the nodes. Now, planets at the bending of the nodes show an important pivot or an important key to balancing out the North and the South node. For you with Pluto in your 10th house, it shows that you going for yourself and you letting go of relationships needs to think about your career. So you're going like all in on yourself, you're letting go of relationships, and an important point of that is looking at your career and what needs to transform there. August is still fairly slow. At the end of the month, from the 21st to the 23rd, Mars in your 6th house will oppose Neptune in your 12th house. This looks like July, August look like you're dealing with physical and mental health fatigue or trying to get that on track. Then on the 23rd, Mercury will station retrograde in your Virgo 6th house. Rethinking, replanning physical health and also coworkers could be a big topic to end August. And on the 28th, Uranus will station retrograde in your Taurus 2nd house. You're rethinking your financial setup and you're rethinking some of the changes that you have made. Now in September, the pace does pick back up. particularly around romance and around your work and your health. So on the 3rd, Venus stations direct in your Leo 5th house. You're now done with Venus retrograde around romance or creativity. You're now moving forward with the new beginnings and the new foundations for your romantic or your creative life. And on the 15th, Mercury will station direct in your Virgo 6th house. So you're moving forward with clear communication around health and coworkers for the rest of the summer. In October, the breakthrough cycle continues. So October is another month of picking up the pace and it really ramping up. On the 10th, Pluto stations direct in your Capricorn 10th house, moving forward with mostly the career transformations and focus that you've been going back to over the past few weeks. And on the 14th, there's a solar eclipse in your Libra 7th house. Even though there's a large theme of getting rid of or disembarking, what am I fucking talking about? Like getting rid of relationships that aren't supportive, a solar eclipse in your 7th house is a really pivotal new beginning. So do look for a close relationship that is not necessarily romantic, but a close relationship to be kicked off the middle of October with the solar eclipse on the 14th. From the 27th to the 30th, Mars in your 8th house will oppose Jupiter in your 2nd house. This looks like you're making a lot of money, but there's some concerns about investing and there's concerns about tying into another financial party to be aware of. And also during that time, Mercury will be conjunct Mars in your 8th house. So I would say that the end of October looks like a time when someone could be financially screwing you over, even though it's not the end of the world, so there's no need to like be too worried, but it does look kind of like you're making a lot of money, but someone's financially screwing you over. And on the 28th, there's a lunar eclipse in your Taurus 2nd house, an ending or a letting go to something financial that will be important for you for the rest of the year. That's pivotal, but that's pretty clear. In November, there are some sudden changes. There's a lot of oppositions going on, and yeah, sudden financial changes looks pretty clear. So on the 2nd to the 3rd, the sun in your 8th house opposes Jupiter in your 2nd house. This looks really positive. It does look like the growth of your income. And on the 3rd to the 4th, Venus in your 6th house will oppose Neptune in your 12th house. This shows that even though you're prioritizing physical health and fitness, you're still feeling fatigued or like there's a lot on your plate, so mentally you're a little bit discombobulated with that. On the 4th, Mercury in your 8th house opposes Uranus in your 2nd house. So this shows some sudden changes that you're making that lead to some news with other people. That you're like, financially, I'm gonna do this, deal with it. That you're like, you're fucking some shit, not fucking some shit up in a bad way, but you're like, doing some shit, which financially is a big deal for others. And on the 4th, Saturn will station direct in your 12th house. That is a big deal for moving forward with enforcing boundaries, moving forward with solutions around your mental health. In December, there's a pretty optimistic ending. I will say that on the 13th, Mercury stations retrograde in your Capricorn 10th house. So it does show going back to reconsider communication around your career. But on the 23rd, Mercury retrograde will enter Sagittarius. So that also goes back into foreign travel and higher education being something that you might have some hiccups or having to redo things in. But on the 30th, Jupiter stations direct in Taurus. This is the really optimistic ending here, with Jupiter stationing direct in your 2nd house of income, having a nice gift of some income to end the year. And also on January 1st, 2024, my God, talking about that is weird, Mercury will station direct in your 9th house. So on literal New Year's of 2024, Mercury retrograde ends and you begin to move forward with more clarity around long distance travel or higher education in your life. Thoughts, predictions, or anything to say about what that already has coming for you, feel free to comment down below. Would love to hear from you and already your expectations or things you're looking forward to for this year. So the Work Your Light card that we have for Aries risings to start out filming all of this with a card is Akasha. Your guidance is divinely guided. I find this card so redundant, like you said guided twice in this, but it's basically just saying that there are people looking out for you, that if you feel like there's a huge amount of responsibility because it's very much a year focused on you, that there is, but also it's not all you, like you're gonna get through it, you're guided, and your guidance has guidance over it. This was a helpful, informative guide to 2023. I put a lot of heart and soul into prepping for these, much more than normal, because I wanted these to be very important as the marinara sauce matures. It gets baked into the pizza, whatever. If you're new here, okay. I hope that this was, as I said, helpful and informative, and if you have any comments, I would always love to see them down below. I do scan through everything, and mostly I respond to what I can in the moment, really recognize and see, but I do see almost everything, if not everything. I think I see everything, you know? Ping me multiple times if you really have an emergency. If not, like, I have a lot. I will see you in the next one.